Tier 1 Tic Tac UFO Encounter 2004. The 2004 Tic Tac UFO encounter stands as one of the most credible and well-documented UFO incidents in modern history. In November 2004, the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group was conducting training exercises off the coast of San Diego when radar operators aboard the USS Princeton detected unusual aerial objects. These objects appeared on advanced AN Spy-1 radar systems, displaying extraordinary capabilities that defied conventional aircraft performance parameters. The objects descended from altitudes above 80,000 feet to sea level in mere seconds, movements impossible for known human aircraft. Commander David Fravor and Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich were dispatched in their FA-18F Super Hornets to investigate. What they encountered was a smooth, white, oblong object approximately 40 feet long with no visible wings, exhaust plumes, or conventional control surfaces, resembling a tic-tac mint. The object demonstrated remarkable maneuverability, responding to Fravor's intercept attempt by rapidly accelerating and repositioning itself, maintaining distance while mirroring his movements. I find it pretty strange that multiple trained military observers witnessed this phenomenon independently, like that's obviously lending a lot of substantial credibility to their accounts. The encounter was captured on advanced forward-looking infrared (FLIR) systems, producing video evidence that was later released to the public in 2017 by the New York Times, alongside similar incidents from 2014 to 2015. What distinguishes this case is the combination of radar data, multiple credible eyewitnesses, and sensor recordings that all corroborate an encounter with technology exhibiting capabilities well beyond current human engineering. Following this incident, the Pentagon officially acknowledged these videos and established the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force to investigate such occurrences. In 2021, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence released a preliminary assessment on UAPs, acknowledging 144 reported incidents of unidentified aerial phenomena from 2004 to 2021, with only one conclusively identified. The Tic Tac incident has forced serious scientific and military consideration of the possibility that these objects represent either breakthrough technology from foreign adversaries or, more provocatively, non-human technology of unknown origin. But that wasn't the only encounter the Navy caught on camera. Gimbal and Go Fast footage 2015, released 2017. The Gimbal and Go Fast videos represent two of the most significant military UFO encounters made public in recent history. These recordings, captured by US Navy pilots in 2015 and subsequently released to the public in 2017, followed the earlier revelation of the 2004 Tic Tac incident. The videos were initially published by The New York Times and To the Stars Academy, an organization co-founded by former Blink-182 musician Tom DeLonge. In 2020, the Pentagon officially released these videos, acknowledging them as authentic recordings of unidentified aerial phenomena. The gimbal footage, recorded by an FA-18 Super Hornets Advanced Targeting Forward-Looking Infrared (ATFLIR) pod, shows an oval-shaped object that appears to rotate while maintaining forward motion. What makes this footage particularly compelling is the audio of the pilot's reactions, with one exclaiming, "Look at that thing, dude," and "It's rotating." The object demonstrates no visible means of propulsion, no exhaust plumes, and no conventional flight surfaces, yet maintains complex flight characteristics. The Go Fast video, also captured through advanced military sensors, depicts an object moving at extremely high speeds near the ocean surface. Honestly, I think the technical analysis of these videos makes them way more credible than your typical UFO sighting. Like, these aren't blurry photos taken by random people, you know? Both recordings underwent significant technical analysis by aviation and video experts. Critics have suggested conventional explanations, including optical illusions caused by camera rotation or distant conventional aircraft. However, the combination of sensor data, pilot testimony, and radar tracking presents a more complex picture than simple misidentification. Following these revelations, the US government has taken increasingly serious approaches to UAP research. In June 2021, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence released a preliminary assessment on UAPs, examining 144 reports from US government sources. The 2022 National Defense Authorization Act subsequently established a permanent office to address UAP investigations within the Department of Defense. These recordings have fundamentally shifted the conversation around unidentified aerial phenomenon from fringe conspiracy theories to legitimate national security and scientific inquiry, with multiple congressional hearings and increasing transparency about previously classified encounters. Soon, the government would be forced to publicly admit something strange was going on. Pentagon UAP Report 2021. In June 2021, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, ODNI, released a landmark 9-page preliminary assessment on unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, marking an unprecedented level of government transparency on the subject. This report, officially titled Preliminary Assessment Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, examined 144 incidents reported by U.S. government sources between 2004 and 2021, primarily from military aviators who witnessed these phenomena firsthand. The document represented the first official acknowledgement of unexplained aerial encounters since Project Blue Book ended in 1969. The report confirmed that most incidents involved physical objects, as they were detected across multiple sensors including radar, infrared, electro-optical, and visual observation by pilots. While many incidents remained unexplained, the report categorized the possible explanations into 5 potential categories: airborne clutter, natural atmospheric phenomena, U.S. developmental programs, foreign adversary systems, and an other category. Notably, the report concluded that 143 incidents remained unexplained, with only one conclusively identified as a deflating balloon. Man, I gotta say, it blew my mind when a government document officially admitted they couldn't explain what these things were. The government admitting their failures? Crazy. The assessment highlighted that some UAPs demonstrated unusual flight characteristics, including apparent ability to remain stationary in high winds, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion. The report acknowledged potential threats to national security, citing concerns about possible breakthrough technology from foreign adversaries, though no evidence linked the phenomena to foreign governments. Following this preliminary assessment, the 2022 National Defense Authorization Act established the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group, AOI-MSG, to standardize data collection and analysis of UAPs. This was later replaced by the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO. The report's significance lies not in providing definitive answers, but in legitimizing serious inquiry into UAPs as a matter of national security and scientific interest. It represented a dramatic shift from previous government approaches of dismissal or secrecy, establishing a new framework for systematic investigation and reducing the stigma associated with reporting such encounters, ultimately leading to increased transparency and congregational hearings on the subject. And just when people thought the truth was out, a whistleblower changed everything. David Grush whistleblower claims, 2023. In June 2023, David Grush, a former intelligence officer and member of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and the National Reconnaissance Office, came forward with extraordinary claims about the U.S. government's alleged involvement with unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP. As a whistleblower, Grush testified under oath before Congress on July 26, 2023, making allegations that sent shockwaves through both UFO research communities and mainstream discourse. Grush's core claims included assertions that the U.S. government has been operating a decades-long program to recover and reverse engineer crashed non-human craft of exotic origin. He testified that he personally interviewed officials with direct knowledge of these programs over a 4-year period while working on UAP analysis for the Department of Defense. Grush stated he was denied access to these alleged programs, but was informed of their existence by individuals with appropriate clearances and need-to-know basis. Among his more sensational allegations were claims that the U.S. possessed intact or partially intact non-human craft, that biological specimens had been recovered from crash sites, and that there had been retaliation against personnel involved with these programs who attempted to report through proper channels. You know, I find it fascinating that someone with his credentials would risk his reputation making these claims publicly. Whatever you believe, I don't think this dude is lying. The Department of Defense responded to Grush's testimony by stating they had found no verifiable information supporting his claims about recovered alien materials. Nevertheless, his testimony contributed to increased governmental transparency surrounding UAP investigations, including the establishment of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, and passage of the 2023 National Defense Authorization Act, which included provisions for enhanced UAP reporting mechanisms and protections for witnesses. Critics have pointed to the lack of physical evidence supporting Grush's claims, while supporters emphasize his credibility as an intelligence professional with an unblemished record who followed proper whistleblower protocols. Grush's allegations represent one of the most significant moments in recent UAP disclosure history, coming from someone with relevant security clearances and intelligence background. Whether his claims ultimately prove verifiable remains an open question, but they have undeniably accelerated serious governmental and public discourse about the UAP phenomenon. But what happens when alleged aliens are caught not just on radar, but on someone's doorstep? You with me so far? Hit that subscribe button to keep the content coming, and let's continue. Las Vegas Backyard Alien Incident 2023. In April 2023, a peculiar event unfolded in the backyard of a Las Vegas home that quickly captured national attention. 2 residents claimed to have witnessed an unidentified entity in their backyard, describing it as approximately 10 feet tall with an elongated neck and head, distinctly non-human in appearance. The witnesses recorded footage of the alleged entity, which shows a tall, thin figure moving behind their fence before disappearing from view. This footage circulated widely across social media platforms, igniting intense debate about its authenticity. The incident gained further credibility when several neighbors reported hearing unusual sounds that night, with one claiming to have spotted a bright blue light in the sky shortly before the sighting. Adding to the intrigue, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department confirmed receiving multiple calls about unusual activity in the area that evening. According to police records, officers responded to the scene but found no conclusive evidence of the described entity. The timing of this incident coincided with reports of unusual aerial phenomena observed near Nellis Air Force Base, located approximately 13 miles northeast of Las Vegas. This proximity to a military installation fueled speculation about potential connections to classified aircraft testing or other government activities. I've gotta say, watching that footage gives me chills, even though my logical brain says there's probably a simple explanation for it. UFO researchers and skeptics alike have analyzed the footage extensively. Skeptics suggest the figure could be explained as a person on stilts, an elaborate hoax, or a misidentified mundane object distorted by poor lighting conditions and camera artifacts. Proponents of extraordinary explanations point to the witnesses' apparent genuine fear and the corroborating neighborhood reports as evidence supporting their claims. The Las Vegas incident exemplifies the contemporary UAP phenomenon's complexity, occurring in an urban setting with multiple witnesses and generating both physical evidence in the form of video recordings and official response from authorities. Whether ultimately proven to be a hoax, misidentification, or something truly unexplained, the incident represents the continuing public fascination with potential extraterrestrial encounters and the increasingly blurred line between viral internet phenomena and serious UAP investigation in the digital age. And if that sounded too wild, just wait until you hear what was unboxed in Mexico. Mexican Congress Alien Bodies, 2023. On September 12, 2023, the Mexican government hosted an unprecedented public hearing where journalist and ufologist Jaime Maussan presented what he claimed were two mummified non-human bodies. The presentation took place during a congregational hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP, marking the first time such alleged evidence was displayed in a government setting. Maussan testified under oath that these specimens, discovered in algae mines near Cusco, Peru, were approximately 1,000 years old according to carbon dating conducted by the National Autonomous University of Mexico, UNAM. The alleged non-human bodies were small, approximately 3 feet long, with 3-fingered hands, elongated skulls, and no apparent teeth or ears. X-rays displayed during the presentation purportedly showed internal structures including eggs inside one specimen, suggesting reproductive capabilities. Maussan claimed that over 30% of the specimen's DNA was unknown according to scientific analysis. The dramatic presentation included testimonies from various UAP researchers and former US Navy pilots who had reported UAP encounters. Serious scientific skepticism emerged immediately following the presentation. Honestly, when I first saw the images, my immediate reaction was, this looks way too much like the alien we all draw as kids to be real. At least try. Critics pointed out that Maussan has a history of controversial claims, including a 2015 presentation of alleged alien bodies that were later determined to be modified mummified children. Archaeologists and anthropologists suggested the specimens were likely altered human remains or fabricated artifacts, noting that the Nazca region of Peru has a long history of elongated skulls due to cranial modification practices among ancient civilizations. The Mexican government distanced itself from the claims, with UNAM later releasing a statement clarifying that while they had performed carbon dating on these samples, they had not validated any claims about non-human origin. Despite the controversy, the hearing represented a significant moment in governmental engagement with the UAP phenomenon, occurring amid increased institutional attention to the topic following similar hearings in the United States Congress. The incident highlights the tension between public interest in potential extraterrestrial evidence and the scientific community's demand for rigorous verification protocols and peer-reviewed analysis. Now, things are about to get weirder and a lot less official. Tier 2, NASA UAP Study, 2023. In September 2023, NASA released its highly anticipated independent study on unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP, representing the space agency's first formal engagement with the topic in decades. The study, conducted by a 16-member panel of distinguished scientists, aerospace experts, and data specialists led by astrophysicist David Spergel, marked a significant shift in how mainstream scientific institutions approach the UAP phenomenon. The panel operated independently from the Department of Defense's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, bringing NASA's scientific methodology and transparency to a field historically shrouded in secrecy. The study emphasized that most UAP observations can be attributed to ordinary phenomena like aircraft, balloons, or atmospheric effects, but acknowledged that a small percentage remained genuinely unexplained. It identified significant challenges in UAP research, including data standardization problems, reporting stigma, and sensor limitations. Notably, the report found no evidence supporting extraterrestrial explanations, but maintained that some observations could not be immediately identified with current scientific understanding. NASA's approach prioritized transparency and scientific rigor, contrasting with historical government handling of the topic. You know, I found it pretty refreshing that NASA didn't dismiss the phenomenon outright, but instead called for better data collection methods and reduced stigma. That's exactly the kind of scientific openness we need on this topic. Following the study's recommendations, NASA appointed a director of UAP research to implement a systematic data collection framework. The agency established standardized reporting protocols, promoted cross-agency collaboration, and advocated for advanced multi-sensor arrays capable of gathering comprehensive data when UAP events occur. This framework aims to elevate UAP research from anecdotal reports to rigorous scientific inquiry. The study's significance extends beyond its specific findings, representing a watershed moment in legitimizing UAP research within the mainstream scientific community. By approaching the phenomenon with scientific methodology rather than dismissal or sensationalism, NASA helped shift the conversation from the realm of conspiracy theories to serious scientific inquiry. The agency's involvement signaled to the broader scientific community that UAP research, conducted properly, constitutes a valid scientific endeavor worthy of rigorous investigation and open discourse. Up next, one of the biggest aviation mysteries ever may have a connection few dare to believe. MH370 Teleportation Theory, 2023. The 2014 disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 remains one of aviation's greatest mysteries, spawning numerous theories ranging from mechanical failure to hijacking. In 2023, a fringe theory suggesting the aircraft was teleported gained unexpected traction in certain online communities following several viral social media posts. This teleportation theory posits that the Boeing 777 aircraft, along with its 239 passengers and crew, somehow entered an interdimensional portal or wormhole, explaining the complete lack of substantial debris despite years of searching across vast areas of the Indian Ocean. Proponents of this theory point to the aircraft's sudden disappearance from conventional radar, the failure of satellite tracking to conclusively determine its final location, and the relatively small amount of confirmed debris recovered despite extensive search operations. They often cite the aircraft's final satellite handshakes as evidence of some anomalous event that current technology cannot explain. Some versions of the theory connect the disappearance to the Bermuda Triangle phenomenon. Despite MH370's flight path being thousands of miles from this location, the scientific community has universally rejected such explanations, noting that teleportation of macroscopic objects remains purely theoretical and would require technology far beyond human capabilities. You know, I find it fascinating how our human need for closure sometimes leads us to embrace crazy spiritual explanations when conventional ones leave too many unanswered questions. Maybe science really isn't all that compared to human instinct. Aviation experts maintain that more prosaic explanations involving mechanical failure, pilot action, or some combination of factors better explain the available evidence. The official investigation concluded that the aircraft likely crashed in the southern Indian Ocean after running out of fuel, though the precise cause of its deviation from the planned flight path remains undetermined. The persistence of teleportation theories surrounding MH370 illustrates how high-profile mysteries can become magnets for speculative thinking, especially in cases where conventional investigations fail to provide satisfying conclusions. Such theories also demonstrate how concepts from science fiction can influence interpretations of real-world events, particularly those involving advanced technology in unexplained circumstances. While lacking scientific merit, these theories reflect the profound human discomfort with uncertainty and our collective struggle to accept that some mysteries may remain permanently unsolved. Before we continue, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more similar videos. And this isn't the first time something otherworldly hovered above sacred ground. Dome of the Rock UFO 2011. In January 2011, multiple videos emerged purportedly showing a glowing orb of light descending over the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, hovering momentarily above the sacred ground site, then accelerating upward at tremendous speed with a flash of light. The incident quickly became one of the most widely discussed UFO events of the early 2010s, with videos captured from different vantage points around the Temple Mount, appearing to show the same phenomenon. The footage spread rapidly across social media and was featured on major news networks worldwide, gaining particular attention due to the religious significance of the location. The Dome of the Rock incident stands out among UFO cases for several reasons. The object appeared over one of the world's most surveilled and politically sensitive religious sites, where the Islamic shrine sits atop the Temple Mount, sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. The symbolic weight of an unexplained aerial phenomenon appearing above such a location generated intense interest from religious communities, UFO researchers, researchers and skeptics alike. Video analysis by skeptical investigators revealed several inconsistencies that cast doubt on the footage's authenticity. The way the light interacted with the environment, particularly the lack of illumination on surrounding buildings, suggested digital manipulation. Expert analysis identified numerous technical issues with the videos, including evidence of CGI compositing, inconsistent lighting effects, and suspicious camera movements. The videos also displayed uniform compression artifacts despite supposedly being filmed on different devices, suggesting they may have been created by the same source rather than independent witnesses. By 2012, most serious UFO researchers had concluded the incident was an elaborate hoax, though it continues to circulate in UFO documentaries and compilations. Despite being largely debunked, the Dome of the Rock incident remains significant in UFO history as it demonstrated how digital technology could be used to create convincing hoaxes that exploit culturally significant locations to generate maximum public interest and emotional response. But what happens when those same objects start surrounding warships? USS Kearsarge UFO Swarm 2021. In October 2021, the USS Kearsarge, a WASP-class amphibious assault ship of the United States Navy, reportedly encountered a swarm of unidentified aerial phenomena while conducting training operations in the Atlantic Ocean. According to multiple accounts from Navy personnel, the ship was followed by several mysterious drones, or UAP, for an extended period, spanning multiple nights. These objects reportedly displayed characteristics and flight capabilities beyond known commercial or military drone technology, demonstrating advanced maneuverability, apparent coordination, and the ability to operate for prolonged periods over open ocean without any visible means of conventional propulsion. The incident gained public attention after details were reported by filmmaker Dave C. Beatty, known for documenting military UAP encounters. According to these reports, the objects maintained station around the vessel despite its movement and changing course, suggesting sophisticated tracking capabilities. Navy personnel reportedly followed established protocols for documenting the encounters, including radar tracking and visual observation. What makes this case particularly notable is that it occurred in the wake of other well-documented maritime UAP incidents involving U.S. Navy vessels, including the USS Russell and USS Paul Hamilton encounters in 2019. I mean, are you kidding me? A billion-dollar warship being unable to identify objects swarming their vessel? What's the point of all that training and technology? The Kearsarge incident fits into a broader pattern of maritime UAP encounters that have prompted increased attention from military and intelligence agencies. In 2022, the Pentagon established the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, partially in response to such incidents, seeking to standardize reporting and analysis of similar phenomena. The maritime setting of these encounters is significant, as open ocean areas provide fewer conventional explanations for such sightings compared to populated coastal regions where civilian drones might be operated. While the Department of Defense has not released official camera or sensor data from the Kearsarge incident, its similarity to other confirmed UAP encounters has made it an important case study in ongoing investigations of unexplained aerial activity around military assets, raising significant questions about potential surveillance of sensitive military operations. And if the triangle shape sounds familiar, it should. It's been seen before, and it's back again. Tier 3. Arizona Triangle Sighting 2023. In March 2023, multiple witnesses across Phoenix, Scottsdale, and Tempe, Arizona reported observing a massive triangular craft moving silently across the night sky. The incident immediately drew comparisons to the famous Phoenix Lights event of 1997, but with distinct differences in the object's reported characteristics. Witnesses describe a solid triangular structure with defined edges and 3 bright lights at each corner, with some reports mentioning a central red pulsing light. Unlike the Phoenix Lights, which appeared as a series of stationary orbs, this object maintained a clear triangular formation throughout its transit across the valley. The sighting gained substantial attention after multiple videos emerged on social media platforms showing consistent imagery from different vantage points. These recordings depicted a large dark triangle moving at moderate speed with no sound, eliminating conventional explanations like commercial aircraft. The object reportedly maintained a steady altitude of approximately 1,000 feet, low enough for witnesses to discern its solid structure blocking out stars behind it. If you've got a solid explanation, please share with me in the comments, because I can't for the life of me understand what's going on here. Local authorities received dozens of calls about the object, but issued no official explanation. Luke Air Force Base, located west of Phoenix, denied any knowledge of military exercises involving unusual aircraft in the area that night. The Federal Aviation Administration confirmed no commercial flights matched the description or flight path of the reported object, further intensifying public interest in the sighting. The 2023 Arizona Triangle case is particularly significant due to its multiple witnesses, video evidence, and proximity to major population centers. UFO researchers noted the similarity to other triangular craft sightings reported near military installations across the southwestern United States in recent years, suggesting potential patterns in these encounters. Skeptical investigators proposed alternatives including experimental military craft, sophisticated drone formations, or atmospheric phenomena, though none fully account for all witness testimonies. The incident occurred during a period of increased public and governmental attention to UAP reports following congressional hearings and Department of Defense acknowledgement of unexplained aerial encounters. The cultural context likely contributed to the extensive documentation of the event, as civilians have become more willing to report and record unusual aerial phenomena without fear of ridicule. As war rages on Earth, something else might be silently watching from above. UFOs over Ukraine, 2022. In the midst of the Russian invasion of Ukraine throughout 2022, multiple Ukrainian astronomical observatories documented unusual aerial phenomena that could not be readily identified as conventional aircraft, drones, or missiles. These sightings gained particular significance given the heightened aerial surveillance and military activity in Ukrainian airspace. The main astronomical observatory of the National Academy of Sciences of Ukraine published a preprint research paper titled Unidentified Aerial Phenomena 1. Observation of Events in September 2022, detailing their systematic observation of these objects. The Ukrainian researchers categorized the observed phenomena into two types, cosmics and phantoms. Cosmics were described as luminous objects brighter than the background sky, while phantoms appeared dark against the background, absorbing light rather than emitting it. According to their measurements, these objects traveled at extreme velocities, with estimating speeds reaching up to 53,000 kilometers per hour. The objects demonstrated no means of propulsion, yet executed rapid course changes impossible for conventional aircraft. These UFOs really make me wonder if we're missing something fundamental about physics that others might have figured out. Are we slow or what? The Ukrainian sightings gained further credibility because they were documented by professional scientists using standardized monitoring equipment rather than casual observers. The researchers employed specifically calibrated cameras at 2 observation points, allowing them to triangulate positions and calculate the object's distances, sizes, and velocities with reasonable precision. According to their data, the phantom objects range from 3 to 12 meters in diameter and reached altitudes of up to 10 to 15 kilometers. The wartime context complicated analysis as military authorities from both Ukraine and Russia declined to comment on the phenomena. Some defense analysts suggested they could represent classified surveillance technology deployed by various nations monitoring the conflict. Others pointed out that the objects' reported capabilities far exceeded known drone technology, particularly in terms of speed and maneuverability. The Ukrainian observations added to a growing body of military UAP sightings worldwide, occurring during a period of increased institutional attention to such phenomena following the Pentagon's official acknowledgement of unexplained encounters. The conflict zone setting raised important questions about whether these observations represented advanced military technology, naturally occurring phenomena misidentified during heightened alert status, or truly anomalous objects of unknown origin. If you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to leave me a thumbs up to show your support. Solomon Islands Alien Base Theory 2022. In 2022, a series of unusual claims emerged suggesting the existence of an extraterrestrial base in the remote Solomon Islands, an archipelago in the South Pacific. The theory gained traction after several fishermen reported witnessing unusual lights ascending into the ocean near the island of Malaita, with some claiming to have observed large metallic structures beneath the water in usually deserted bays. Local residents described encountering strange crafts both in the sky and partially submerged, exhibiting technological capabilities far beyond conventional aircraft or submarines. The remote geography of the Solomon Islands, with its mountainous terrain, dense jungles, and complex reef systems, makes it an ideal location for concealment of covert operations. Proponents of the theory pointed to the region's relative isolation and minimal air traffic as reasons why it might be selected for clandestine activities, whether by advanced human technology or non-human intelligence. The theory gained further momentum when satellite imagery appeared to show unusual structures in shallow waters off uninhabited islands, though skeptics noted these could be natural formations or debris from World War II, when the Solomon Islands saw intense naval warfare. Some local officials acknowledged investigating reports but found no conclusive evidence of artificial structures in the specified locations. Cultural factors played a significant role in the spread of these accounts, as the Solomon Islands have rich folkloric traditions involving entities from the sky and sea. Some anthropologists suggested the contemporary alien-based narrative represented a modern interpretation of traditional beliefs, updated for the technological age. I do think that people who are connected to their land and conditions have a higher chance of connecting with otherworldly beings like aliens. Maritime researchers noted the Solomon Islands sit along the edge of the Mariana Trench, the deepest oceanic trench on Earth, which has long featured in theories about underwater bases due to its extreme depth and relative inaccessibility. While no definitive evidence emerged to confirm the existence of an extraterrestrial base, the persistent reports added to the growing collection of accounts suggesting unusual activity in remote oceanic regions, prompting calls from some ufologists for systematic investigation of these maritime anomalies. Alaska UFO Shootdown 2023. In February 2023, a series of unprecedented events unfolded in North American airspace that captivated public attention. Following the shootdown of a Chinese surveillance balloon off the South Carolina coast on February 4th, the U.S. military subsequently detected and destroyed 3 additional unidentified objects over Alaska, Canada's Yukon Territory, and Lake Huron. The Alaska incident occurred on February 10th when an F-22 fighter jet from Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson used an AIM-9X Sidewinder missile to down an unidentified object flying at approximately 40,000 feet over frozen waters near Dead Horse, Alaska. The Pentagon's initial descriptions of the Alaska object were notably vague, characterizing it as the size of a small car with no discernible means of propulsion. Unlike the Chinese balloon, officials stated they could not determine if this object was maneuverable or merely drifting with air currents. Recovery operations in the harsh Arctic environment proved challenging, with search teams contending with sub-zero temperatures and broken sea ice while attempting to retrieve debris scattered across remote terrain. The whole Alaska incident feels like a bizarre reality glitch that nobody knows how to explain properly. What made the Alaska case particularly significant was the unprecedented nature of the military response, the first ever shootdown of an unidentified object over U.S. history. This action represented a dramatic shift in engagement protocols following criticism over delayed response to the Chinese balloon. In subsequent days, senior defense officials acknowledged limited sensor data on the object, citing its small radar cross-section in the absence of identifiable communication signals. By mid-February, recovery operations had been suspended due to environmental challenges, with officials noting that no significant debris had been recovered. The Pentagon later walked back some of the more unusual characterizations of the object, suggesting it was most likely a hobbyist or research balloon rather than something exotic. However, the sequence of events triggered renewed congressional interest in UAP reporting mechanisms and identification protocols, ultimately contributing to enhanced transparency requirements in subsequent defense authorization legislation. Next, nearly 3 decades later, a Brazilian encounter has new life and new witnesses. Varginha reopened investigation 2022. In 2022, one of Brazil's most infamous UFO cases received renewed attention when investigators reopened the Varginha incident that originally occurred in January 1996. The case, often called Brazil's Roswell, began when 3 young women reported encountering a strange creature with brown oily skin, large red eyes, and a distinctive sulfuric odor in Varginha, Minas Gerais. Within hours, military and fire department personnel allegedly captured 1 or more similar beings, with witnesses describing unusual military operations throughout the area. The 2022 investigation was spearheaded by documentary filmmakers and UFO researchers who obtained previously unreleased testimonies from military personnel involved in the original events. Most significantly, a retired Brazilian army officer came forward confirming military involvement in the capture of at least 1 non-human being. This testimony directly contradicted the official narrative that had dismissed the case as imagination or misidentification of a mentally ill homeless person or deformed animal. Researchers uncovered medical records suggesting that at least 1 soldier died from unusual infections after direct contact with one of these entities, adding credibility to claims that biohazard protocols were implemented during the recovery operation. Local hospital staff, previously silent due to professional concerns, provided news statements describing unusual government interventions following the admission of an unknown patient with anatomical anomalies. The renewed investigation benefited from Brazil's improved freedom of information laws, allowing researchers to obtain partially redacted military and police reports from the period. These documents confirmed unusual aerial activities in the region days before the creature sightings and the deployment of specialized military units without clear official justification. What distinguishes the Varginha case from many UFO incidents is the number of witnesses from different backgrounds. Civilians, military personnel, medical professionals, and police, all describing consistent elements despite having no connection to each other. The 2022 investigation, while not producing definitive physical evidence, substantially reinforced the case's credibility through new witness testimony and documentation, leading to increased international attention on one of South America's most compelling close encounter cases. And just across the Gulf, another crash might have slipped through international silence. Cuba UFO crash, 2021. In May 2021, reports emerged of an unusual aerial event in western Cuba that sparked widespread speculation about potential UFO crash. According to local witnesses in the Viñales region, a cylindrical object with metallic characteristics was observed entering Cuban airspace at high velocity before descending rapidly and apparently crashing in a remote mountainous area. Residents described hearing a thunderous explosion followed by ground vibrations strong enough to rattle windows in nearby villages. Social media quickly filled with images of a smoke trail against a clear Caribbean sky, though the authenticity of these images remained difficult to verify. Cuban authorities initially cordoned off a substantial area in the Sierra de los Órganos mountain range, citing environmental concerns related to a meteorite impact. However, witnesses reportedly an unusually large military presence for such an event, including specialized units not typically deployed for natural phenomena. Several local farmers claimed their access to the area remained restricted for weeks following the incident, far longer than would be expected for routine security measures. These stories from Cuba make me wonder how many similar incidents go completely unreported in countries with tight media control. International satellite monitoring organizations detected an unusual heat signature consistent with an impact or crash in the region, though cloud cover prevented detailed observation of the site itself. Amateur radio operators in southern Florida and Mexico reported intercepting encrypted communications suggesting an unusual recovery operation underway in western Cuba, adding credibility to claims that this was no ordinary meteor impact. The incident gained additional attention when several Cuban military personnel allegedly involved in the recovery operation sought asylum in the United States in late 2021, though their specific claims regarding the nature of the recovered material remain classified. Official Cuban government statements described the event simply as a natural phenomenon under investigation, while dismissing foreign media speculation as politically motivated disinformation. The Cuba incident remains significant in UAP research due to its multiple witnesses, apparent physical evidence, and the documented government response that exceeded typical protocols for conventional events such as meteorite impacts or aircraft accidents. It's about to get even darker now, so tap that like button to lock in and let's continue. There are claims that some of these vehicles weren't just foreign, they weren't from Earth at all. Pentagon Off-World Vehicle Leaks 2020. In July 2020, the New York Times published a bombshell article featuring statements from astrophysicist and Pentagon consultant Eric W. Davis that sent shockwaves through both UFO research communities and mainstream science. According to the report, Davis had briefed Defense Department officials in March 2020 about retrievals of off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. This extraordinary claim from a credentialed scientist with deep connections to government aerospace programs represented an unprecedented level of disclosure from someone within the defense establishment. The article stated that Davis, who had worked with the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, provided classified briefings to defense contractors and multiple senators about materials allegedly recovered from crashes of vehicles not made on this Earth. What distinguished this leak from previous UFO claims was its source, not anonymous whistleblowers or fringe researchers, but a respected physicist whose work on theoretical propulsion systems has been funded by NASA and the Department of Defense. That Times article hit me like a truck when I first read it. Seeing this stuff in such a mainstream publication felt surreal. They wouldn't publish it if it weren't legit, you know? The Pentagon responded with carefully worded statements, neither confirming nor denying the specific claims, while confirming the existence of their Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. This partial acknowledgement fueled speculation that the government was preparing for broader disclosure of recovered non-human technologies. Former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid added further credibility to these claims, stating that crashes have been retrieved by our government. In subsequent months, the Department of Defense released additional UAP footage and established formal reporting mechanisms for military encounters with unexplained phenomena. While no physical evidence of recovered craft was present to the public, the leak precipitated unprecedented congressional interest in the topic, ultimately leading to UAP reporting requirements in the 2021 Intelligence Authorization Act and public hearings in 2022. The 2020 leak represented a significant turning point in how UAP reports were treated by mainstream media and government institutions, shifting the conversation from ridicule to serious national security concern. Now, I want to talk about some secret meetings, buried projects, and classified craft. Someone leaked all the notes. Wilson Davis Notes Leak 2019. In 2019, a set of documents known as the Wilson Davis Notes emerged publicly, purportedly containing detailed minutes from a 2002 meeting between physicist Dr. Eric Davis and Admiral Thomas Wilson, former director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. These 15 pages of handwritten notes allegedly authored by Davis detailed a conversation in which Wilson described his attempts to gain access to deeply classified UFO programs within the defense contracting world. The documents first appeared at the Anomalous Mind Management Abductee Contactee Headquarters, AMMACH conference in the UK before spreading rapidly across UFO research communities. According to the notes, Wilson claimed he had identified an unacknowledged special access program involving the analysis of recovered non-human technology after being tipped off by a classified 1997 Pentagon briefing. When Wilson attempted to access this program, he was reportedly denied on the basis that he lacked the necessary clearance, despite his senior intelligence position. The contractors allegedly confirmed the program's existence but informed Wilson it was managed by private defense corporations under a reverse engineering directive. These documents sent chills down my spine even after multiple readings. The matter-of-fact bureaucratic tone makes them feel disturbingly plausible. Neither Wilson nor Davis publicly authenticated the documents, with Wilson explicitly denying their validity. However, many researchers noted the documents contained accurate details about classified defense structures that added credibility. The link gained additional significance when cited in connection with Eric Davis's 2020 congregational briefings about retrieved off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. The Wilson-Davis notes represented a unique form of disclosure, not through official channels or anonymous whistleblowers, but through the apparent leak of private meeting notes between senior officials. Whether authentic or elaborate fabrication, the documents profoundly influenced UFO disclosure movements by providing a detailed, plausible account of how recovered non-human technology might be managed outside traditional government oversight through privatized special programs with minimal executive or congressional supervision. Now, what if UFOs aren't flying at all? Underwater UFOs, or USOs. Unidentified submersible objects, USOs, represent a fascinating subset of the UAP phenomenon involving craft that operate both in air and underwater environments with apparent ease. First documented extensively by the Soviet Navy during the Cold War, these objects have been reported entering and exiting bodies of water at high speeds without the expected physical effects such as deceleration or cavitation that would affect conventional vessels. Military encounters with the USOs have occurred worldwide, with notable concentrations in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico's waters, and the Pacific Triangle region between Japan, Guam, and the northern Philippines. The U.S. Navy has documented numerous USO incidents, including a significant 2019 case where the USS Omaha tracked multiple unknown objects in waters off San Diego that displayed transmedium capabilities, the ability to move seamlessly between air and water. Sensor data recorded objects descending into the ocean without slowing and subsequently tracked them moving at speeds exceeding 50 knots underwater, far beyond the capabilities of known submarine technology. Similar incidents occurred during Vietnam-era submarine patrols, with sonar operators tracking objects moving at impossible depths and velocities. The ocean's vast unexplored regions sometimes makes me wonder if we're the visitors here rather than whoever might be operating these craft. Russian naval records declassified after the Soviet collapse revealed systematic USO documentation, including objects outrunning torpedo boats and emerging from depths exceeding 20,000 feet where crushing pressure would destroy conventional submarines. Civilian witnesses, particularly commercial fishermen and offshore oil workers, have consistently reported luminous objects entering and exiting oceans globally, often coinciding with electromagnetic effects on vessel electronics. The transmedium capabilities demonstrated by these objects present profound technological implications as they appear to overcome fundamental physics challenges including water resistance, pressure differentials, and cavitation effects that limit conventional vehicles. This has led to speculation about advanced propulsion systems potentially manipulating gravity or creating localized alterations in physical properties of surrounding mediums. Whether representing non-human technology or classified breakthrough propulsion systems, USOs represent one of the most technically significant aspects of the broader UAP phenomenon due to their apparent mastery of multiple environments. Let's take a little detour and talk about how COVID might actually be an alien form of warfare. Havana Syndrome Alien Weapon Theory 2021. In 2021, amid growing reports of Havana Syndrome affecting US diplomats and intelligence officers worldwide, a fringe theory emerged suggesting these mysterious health incidents might be connected to non-human technology. While mainstream scientific investigation focused on potential microwave weapons developed by foreign adversaries, a subset of researchers proposed more exotic explanations. This theory gained limited traction in certain online communities following congressional testimony about unidentified aerial phenomena that coincided with an increase in reported Havana Syndrome cases. Proponents of the alien weapon theory pointed to several unusual characteristics of Havana Syndrome incidents that they claimed suggested technology beyond conventional human capabilities. These included the apparent ability to target specific individuals in crowded spaces, penetrate walls without affecting electronics, and cause highly directional effects that sometimes followed victims from room to room. They noted the similarity between reported symptoms, including spatial disorientation, auditory phenomena, and cognitive effects, and descriptions from historical close encounter cases. These Havana Syndrome cases keep me up at night wondering what kind of technology could actually cause such specific neurological damage. Government investigations consistently attributed Havana syndrome to either psychogenic factors or directed energy weapons likely developed by nation-states. A 2022 intelligence assessment concluded that foreign adversaries were the most plausible explanation, with Russia's GRU military intelligence service identified as having the technical capability and motivation to deploy such systems. The scientific consensus focused on pulsed microwave technology as the most likely causal mechanism, with no credible evidence supporting extraterrestrial origins. The alien weapon theory exemplifies how contemporary UAP discourse increasingly intersects with other unexplained phenomena, with proponents suggesting connections between seemingly disparate mysteries. While lacking scientific support, the theory demonstrates how unexplained events affecting national security personnel can generate speculative frameworks that attempt to connect multiple anomalous phenomena under unified explanatory models, particularly during periods of increased public interest in UAP/UFO topics. Let's take this a level deeper, and make sure you subscribe to my channel to keep the good stuff coming. Tier 4. Orbs in War Zones, 2022. Throughout the Russia-Ukraine conflict in 2022, military personnel and civilians on both sides reported encounters with unexplained luminous spheres hovering over combat zones. These orb-like phenomena, typically described as glowing white, blue, or orange spheres ranging from inches to several feet in diameter, were documented by smartphone cameras and occasionally military imaging systems. Ukrainian drone operators reported these objects appearing to observe troop movements, sometimes maintaining positions for hours before rapidly accelerating beyond visual range. Similar phenomena were documented in Syria, where Turkish and Russian forces reported orbs appearing before or after combat operations. What distinguishes these war zone orbs from conventional drone technology is their reported flight characteristics, hovering completely silent, making instantaneous direction changes without inertial effects, and in some cases responding to human attention in ways suggesting intelligent control. Military analysts initially classified these observations as potential adversary surveillance drones, but technical assessments noted the objects displayed flight capabilities beyond known unmanned aerial systems, including the absence of visible propulsion and extreme acceleration rates that would destroy conventional aircraft. Those orb videos from Ukraine make my skin crawl in a way regular combat footage never does. The Ukrainian scientific community, particularly the Kyiv Institute of Physics, established a specialized detection network using modified radar systems to track these anomalies, collecting data on hundreds of incidents throughout the conflict zone. Their preliminary findings suggested these objects emitted unusual electromagnetic signatures distinct from conventional aircraft or drones. Perhaps most intriguingly, researchers documented statistical correlations between orb appearances and subsequent military engagements, with several Ukrainian commanders reporting the orb sightings often preceded artillery strikes or drone attacks within 24 to 72 hours. The Department of Defense's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office acknowledged investigating similar phenomena in multiple conflict zones, noting patterns consistent with intelligence observation rather than natural phenomena. Whether representing advanced surveillance technology, atmospheric plasma phenomena triggered by weapon systems, or something more exotic, these war zone orbs represent one of the most thoroughly documented aspects of contemporary UAP activity with potential national security implications. Next, there are some satellite images that suggest something is buried in the ice, and it's not natural. Antarctica Metallic Structures, 2023. In early 2023, satellite imagery analysis of remote Antarctica regions revealed several unusual formations that sparked intense debate among researchers and online communities. These structures, located primarily in the region of Queen Maud Land and the Ellsworth Mountains, appear to display geometric patterns inconsistent with known natural formations. High-resolution images showed what some interpreted as metallic reflections from partially exposed objects embedded within ice sheets, with straight edges and apparent symmetrical arrangements extending for hundreds of meters. The controversy intensified when several glaciologists and remote sensing experts noted that some formations appear to have been increasingly exposed due to accelerated ice melt, potentially revealing structures that have been covered for an indeterminate period. Thermal imaging data from environmental monitoring satellites detected anomalous heat signatures associated with several of these locations, suggesting either geothermal activity or, more controversially, potential energy sources not consistent with natural phenomena. The scientific community offered several conventional explanations, including unusual geological formations created through natural fracturing processes, abandoned mining equipment from early Antarctic expeditions, or previously undocumented research stations established during the Cold War. However, the remote locations, far from established scientific bases and historical exploration routes, complicated efforts to validate these explanations. By mid-2023, Multiple nations with Antarctic research programs had expressed interest in ground-based investigation, though the extreme conditions and logistical challenges of accessing these remote areas prevented immediate verification. The Russian and Chilean Antarctic programs reportedly modified planned expedition routes to bring scientific teams closer to several of the sites, while satellite monitoring continued to track changes in ice coverage around the formations. While mainstream scientific discussion focused on geological and human-made explanations, the structures added to long-standing speculation about potential ancient civilization remnants or non-human technology hidden beneath Antarctica's ice sheets, reflecting humanity's continuing fascination with one of Earth's last truly unexplored regions. And back on American soil, one place continues to defy every known law of physics. Skinwalker Ranch thermal footage, 2023. In 2023, the ongoing investigation at Utah's Skinwalker Ranch produced some of its most compelling evidence yet when researchers captured extraordinary thermal footage of anomalous aerial phenomena. Using military-grade thermal imaging cameras during a series of controlled experiments, the research team led by astrophysicist Dr. Travis Taylor documented several instances of objects manifesting temperature signatures inconsistent with known aircraft, drones, or natural phenomena. The most significant incident occurred in April 2023 during overnight monitoring when thermal cameras detected a cold object hovering approximately 500 feet above the ranch's central basin. What made this footage particularly remarkable was the object's thermal profile, which registered significantly colder than the surrounding atmosphere, appearing as a distinct black shape against a warmer night sky background. According to thermal imaging experts who analyzed the footage, the object's temperature differential suggested it was either absorbing ambient infrared radiation or operating at temperatures below freezing despite the warm spring air. The object maintained position for approximately 73 seconds before accelerating beyond the camera's field of view without any gradual acceleration phase. The ranch has always had a shady past, so I really think, given the context, this can't just be BS. The research team correlated this thermal signature with simultaneous readings from their electromagnetic field detectors, which recorded unusual spikes coinciding precisely with the object's appearance and disappearance. Perhaps most significantly, the ranch's gamma radiation monitors detected brief elevations during the same time window, suggesting potential interaction between the phenomenon and the surrounding environment. These multi-sensor corroborations significantly strengthened the case that the thermal anomaly represented a genuine physical phenomenon rather than camera artifacts or atmospheric effects. When published in the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies technical report series, the footage generated substantial interest within both UAP research communities and conventional scientific circles. The thermal imaging evidence represented a significant advancement in Skinwalker Ranch research, moving beyond anecdotal reports to multi-instrument detection of anomalous phenomena under controlled observation conditions. One secret project leads to another, and the next might go even deeper underground. Project Aquarius. Project Aquarius has become one of the most enduring and controversial elements in UFO disclosure lore since its first mention in documents allegedly leaked from government sources in the 1980s. According to these claims, Project Aquarius represented a highly classified special access program established under the authority of MJ-12, a purported secret group of scientists, military leaders, and intelligence officials assembled to investigate crashed extraterrestrial craft and their occupants. The project allegedly operated with presidential authorization and extreme compartmentalization, with information restricted to individuals possessing Q-Magic clearances above standard top-secret designations. The core mission of Project Aquarius, according to these accounts, involved comprehensive scientific study of extraterrestrial biological entities, EBEs, and their technology following the recovery of crashed craft from various locations beginning with the alleged 1947 Roswell incident. The project supposedly cataloged distinct non-human species visiting Earth, their origins, technological capabilities, and possible motivations. Documents attributed to Project Aquarius described ongoing diplomatic exchanges with certain extraterrestrial groups, including alleged treaties permitting limited surveillance activities in exchange for technological transfers. The whole Aquarius story sounds just plausible enough to keep me up at night, wondering if there's any truth buried beneath all the fabrications. Official government agencies have consistently denied the existence of Project Aquarius in UFO-related contexts, though declassified documents confirm the codename Aquarius was used for various unrelated intelligence programs. UFO researchers remain divided on the authenticity of the Aquarius documents, with skeptics noting inconsistencies in formatting, terminology, and classification markings suggesting they were sophisticated hoaxes rather than genuine leaks. Others contend these inconsistencies could represent deliberate disinformation inserted into authentic material to discredit potential leaks. The Project Aquarius narrative continues to influence contemporary UAP disclosure movement, with elements of its alleged findings echoed in more recent whistleblower testimonies. Whether representing genuine classified programs, elaborate disinformation, or creative mythology, Project Aquarius embodies the persistent belief that governments possess profound knowledge about non-human intelligence far beyond which has been publicly acknowledged. If you want to learn more about similar topics, make sure you check out my channel and stay subscribed. Alien Treaties and Deep Underground Bases, 1980s. Throughout the 1980s, a complex mythology emerged within UFO research communities regarding alleged secret agreements between extraterrestrial civilizations and world governments, particularly the United States. According to these narratives, following the Roswell incident and subsequent recoveries of non-human craft, various administrations established diplomatic protocols with different alien species, culminating in formal treaties during the Eisenhower era. These purported agreements supposedly permitted limited alien presence on Earth in exchange for advanced technology transfers, with specific provisions requiring the establishment of secure facilities where joint human-alien activities could occur beyond public scrutiny. These claims gained momentum through figures like physicist Bob Lazar, who in 1989 alleged he had worked at a facility called S4 near Area 51, reverse engineering alien propulsion systems. While Lazar's credibility remains disputed, his claims about hidden underground complexes resonated with earlier accounts from alleged whistleblowers describing vast subterranean networks beneath locations like Dulce, New Mexico, and Mount Shasta, California. These sources described multi-level facilities extending miles underground, utilizing advanced boring technology far beyond publicly acknowledged capabilities. The idea of humans and aliens sharing underground bases seriously messed with my sleep for years as a teenager. The Deep Military Underground Bases, DUMBs, narrative expanded throughout the decade, bolstered by researchers documenting unusual patterns of equipment purchases, geological testing, and specialized mining technology development. Former military personnel described massive tunnel boring machines capable of melting through bedrock while simultaneously installing reinforced walls, creating sealed, self-contained environments. Government agencies consistently denied these claims, though documented black budget expenditures for classified underground facilities did exist for nuclear continuity of government programs. The 1980s alien treaty mythology represented a significant evolution in UFO discourse, shifting focus from simple sightings to complex geopolitical scenarios involving ongoing interaction programs. Whether reflecting genuine classified activities, psychological operations aimed at concealing conventional military projects, or simply modern folklore expressing Cold War anxieties, these narratives fundamentally reshaped how many understood the UFO phenomenon, introducing concepts of governmental complicity that continue to influence contemporary disclosure movements. And speaking of government complicity, alien reincarnation experiments, 2020s. In early 2020s, a novel theory emerged within certain UFO research communities proposing that some extraterrestrial species might be conducting systematic reincarnation experiments with human consciousness. This hypothesis evolved from a convergence of accounts from people claiming past life memories of non-human existence, regression hypnosis sessions revealing alleged experiences aboard craft, and patterns identified in near-death experience research. Proponents suggested that certain extraterrestrial civilizations had developed technology capable of tracking, capturing, and redirecting consciousness energy during the transition between physical death and subsequent rebirth. According to these theories, advanced non-human entities might possess technologies that interface with quantum consciousness fields, allowing them to study how awareness persists beyond biological death. Some researchers claim to have documented cases where individuals possess memories and knowledge they could not have obtained through conventional means, including technical information about propulsion systems and detailed astronomical data about distant star systems. These subjects often reported feeling a sense of assignment or purpose connected to their current incarnation, suggesting possible experimental parameters. Those memories these people describe of being in strange metallic rooms feel uncomfortably familiar sometimes, even though I've never had such experiences myself. Mainstream scientific organizations dismiss these hypotheses as unfalsifiable pseudoscience, noting the lack of empirical evidence for consciousness existing independently of biological processes. Neuroscientists pointed out that anomalous memories could be explained through more conventional mechanisms such as cryptomnesia, where forgotten information is mistakenly perceived as new knowledge, or confabulation, where the brain creates false memories to fill explanatory gaps. Nevertheless, by mid-decade, several research networks had established protocols for documenting and cross-referencing these accounts, searching for consistent patterns that might suggest organized experimental design rather than random psychological phenomena. These researchers noted thematic connections to ancient spiritual traditions worldwide that described soul agreements, life contracts, and consciousness manipulation by non-physical entities, suggesting the possibility that what ancient cultures interpreted through religious frameworks might represent interaction with advanced technological civilizations capable of manipulating the consciousness-matter interface. Now, for a tier deeper, and something that's a lot closer to home, social media. Tier 5, the Mirror Humanoid TikTok, 2023. In mid-2023, a series of TikTok videos documenting what appeared to be a strange humanoid entity visible only in mirrors sparked a viral phenomenon across social media platforms. Posted by user @mirror_watcher23 showed what seemed to be an ordinary bathroom mirror until the camera angle shifted slightly, revealing a tall, slender figure with elongated limbs and an unnaturally smooth face standing behind the filmer. Visible only in the mirror's reflection, but absent from the direct camera view of the same space, the video abruptly ended as the entity appeared to notice it was being observed. Within days, dozens of similar videos emerged across TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, with users claiming to capture these mirror humanoids in reflective surfaces throughout their homes. The phenomenon gained momentum when several videos appeared to show consistent physical characteristics across different sightings. Entities roughly 7 feet tall with disproportionately long arms, minimal facial features, and skin with a subtle metallic or pearlescent quality. What distinguished these videos from typical internet hoaxes was the technical consistency. Professional VFX artists noted the difficulty in achieving the specific lighting interactions and reflective properties displayed across numerous videos from amateur creators. The first mirror video made me instinctively cover all the mirrors in my apartment for a week. No thank you. As the trend exploded, digital forensics experts and skeptical communities conducted through analyses identifying evidence of sophisticated video manipulation in many cases. However, a small percentage of videos defied conventional explanation with no identifiable editing artifacts or technical inconsistencies. Several creators subsequently claimed their original videos had been stolen or manipulated by others, further complicating verification efforts. By late 2023, the phenomenon had generated multiple documentary investigations and academic studies examining both the technical aspects of the footage and the sociological implications of this digital age folklore phenomenon. This video is almost over, so make sure you subscribe. That's the only way you're going to be notified about more videos just like this one. Tier 5 just keeps getting darker, just like this strange black object. The Black Cube over El Paso, 2020. In February 2020, residents of El Paso, Texas, reported observing a mysterious black cubic object hovering in the sky above the city's eastern districts. The sighting, initially documented by a local delivery driver who captured video on his smartphone, showed what appeared to be a perfect geometric cube suspended motionless approximately 2,000 feet above the desert landscape. The footage revealed a matte black object with sharply defined edges, displaying no visible means of propulsion, lights, or conventional aircraft features. Over the following 2 days, dozens of additional witnesses photographed and recorded the object from various vantage points across the city. What made the El Paso Cube particularly notable was its reported persistence, with sightings continuing intermittently over a 73-hour period. Several videos appeared to show the object rotating slowly on its axis while maintaining position despite substantial desert winds. Local meteorological equipment detected no radar signature from the object's location, though multiple observers reported unusual electronic interference with vehicles and mobile devices when in proximity to the cube's position. That black cube footage with this perfect geometric shape against the natural landscape? I don't know, something feels off. The FAA in nearby Fort Bliss initially denied knowledge of any authorized aircraft or military exercises in the area, though subsequent requests under the Freedom of Information Act revealed that military radar installations had indeed tracked an anomalous stationary return during the same time period. Astronomers from the University of Texas at El Paso attempted to observe the object with telescope equipment but reported difficulties maintaining focus on the cube, describing unusual optical distortion effects around it. By the third day, the object was no longer visible, with no explanation for its appearance or departure. Speculation ranged from classified military technology to atmospheric optical illusions, though the consistent geometric description across multiple independent witnesses challenged conventional explanations. The sighting generated particular interest among researchers studying potential connections between geometric UAP and similar historical accounts of perfect cube-shaped objects dating back to medieval chronicles. Tier 6. Lou Elizondo Redacted Hints, 2021. Throughout 2021, former Pentagon intelligence officer Luis Lou Elizondo, who previously directed the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, AATIP, made a series of carefully worded statements in media interviews suggesting the government possessed significantly more evidence about UAPs than publicly acknowledged. These redacted hints, as UFO researchers came to call him, involved Elizondo alluding to classified information he could not directly discuss due to security clearance restrictions, while providing tantalizing suggestions about its nature. In numerous appearances on news programs and podcasts, Elizondo employed phrases like, "I can't discuss this, but," followed by leading questions that implied extraordinary discoveries. Among his most significant hints were suggestions that the government possessed material evidence of exotic craft, that certain UAPs demonstrated capabilities that defied known physics, and that certain official investigations had identified patterns suggesting non-human intelligence. When pressed about recovered craft, Elizondo would frequently state he was not authorized to discuss that topic, rather than denying such recoveries existed. This pattern of strategic non-denial became a hallmark of his communications approach. Elizondo's careful dance around his security clearance restrictions keeps me up at night, wondering exactly what he's seen that he can't fully share. Perhaps most significantly, during an interview with the Washington Post, Elizondo implied that official assessments had ruled out all conventional explanations for certain UAP encounters, leaving only exotic possibilities including non-human technology. When asked directly if he believes some UAPs represented extraterrestrial technology, he repeatedly stated that the data pointed to something not from this world, while carefully noting he was expressing a personal assessment rather than revealing classified information. Defense Department officials responded to Elizondo's claim with carefully worded statements that neither confirmed nor denied his specific assertions, while acknowledging his past involvement with aerospace threat identification programs. This measured response itself fueled speculation that Elizondo's hints accurately reflected classified findings that official channels were not yet prepared to acknowledge publicly. Missing Malaysian UFO Researcher, 2024. In January 2024, the global UFO research community was stunned by the sudden disappearance of Dr. Azlan Noordin, a prominent Malaysian astrophysicist whose work on unidentified aerial phenomena had gained international attention. Dr. Noordin vanished while conducting field research near the Tawau Hills in Sabah, where local residents had reported unusual aerial lights over the preceding months. His research team reported last communication at approximately 11:30 p.m. when Noordin radioed that he had detected anomalous electromagnetic readings and he was investigating a clearing approximately 1 kilometer from their base camp. By morning, despite an extensive search, only his research equipment and personal belongings remained at the site. What elevated this case beyond typical missing person scenarios was the recovery of Noordin's surveillance equipment, which had captured unusual luminous phenomena in the minutes preceding his disappearance. The footage showed several orb-like objects exhibiting intelligent movement patterns around the researcher's position before the camera abruptly malfunctioned. Malaysian authorities initially suggested natural explanations including disorientation in the dense jungle or wildlife attack, but these theories failed to account for the lack of evidence supporting conventional scenarios. The combination of Noordin's high-profile research and the mysterious circumstances surrounding his disappearance makes me genuinely uneasy about what might have happened in those remote hills. International researchers noted that Noordin had recently published preliminary findings suggesting patterns in UAP sightings corresponded to specific geological formations across Southeast Asia. In the weeks prior to his disappearance, colleagues reported he had expressed excitement about a breakthrough in understanding the relationship between earthquake precursor phenomena and UAP activity, claiming to have identified a predictive algorithm for certain types of encounters. The case gained further complexity when Malaysian military officials acknowledged radar anomalies recorded on the night of Noordin's disappearance, showing an unidentified aerial contact briefly hovering near the Tawau Hills before rapidly accelerating beyond tracking capabilities. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on, and be sure to check out our last video, the School Shootings Iceberg.